Hey guys, today we're going to look at 4 different podcasts that improve your music songwriting abilities. They're going to give you a better look at making lyrics, they're going to explain music theory, which I feel is kind of the elephant in the room for a lot of songwriters, and they're going to give you more tools to use when you approach melody making. So here we go. This first one's called Switched on Pop. So this podcast is hosted by 2 producers that break down pop music through music theory. It's amazing what they pull out of these pop tracks. I've learned about pedal point theory, point counterpoint, different ways to make tension within a song, within the melody, ways of looking at lyrics. This is a deep dive into the tracks that they pull out. You will walk away knowing more about how the music's made than you did going into it. This is a great one to listen to songs that you listen to on the radio, but also to dive into songs that you are unfamiliar with, because they're going to pull out elements that make that song work even if it doesn't meet your tastes. And that's going to improve you as a songwriter. This next podcast is called Sodajerker on Songwriting. This podcast is hosted by 2 UK-based songwriters, and they interview big songwriters in the industry. Each episode is a deep dive into the writer's work by album and by song. The writer will explore different elements they use in general and also pull out elements that work in each song and discuss how they reach that point or their theory behind getting to that point. A lot of this ends up being about lyrics, but it's just as much about melody for many of the writers when you get deeper into each podcast. I can't recommend this one enough. It's got a huge back catalog, including Noel Gallagher and Paul McCartney, so check this out. This next podcast is called Dissect. The way this show's spaced out is each season is a different album, and each album is broken down track by track, episode by episode throughout the season. These are very, very, very deep dives into music composition, lyrics, music theory, and also anecdotal evidence and stories about what each artist was going through when they put it on paper. My favorite season so far, and a great place to start, would be the Kanye West Monster album season. I think that's the 2nd season. But I've listened to all the seasons, even the albums I wasn't a big fan of. I love this season. You've got to be checking this out to get that really in-depth study of one artist over 13 and 14 hours. Really great stuff. The last podcast I'm going to recommend today is Song Exploder. Now, the way this show works is each episode is a deep dive into one track by a specific artist. Of course, the podcast has a host, but he's really more of a curator. The artist seems to host the entire thing, taking the listener from the concept or the demo all the way to the finished product. And every episode ends with listening to the full song. So you see how it's built throughout, and then in the end, you can see how it's all put together and pull those elements out. It's really good for when they layer music in. If I've listened to a song before and I listen to it after the episode, I'll notice all the little notes I've missed before and see how they build into the tension or build into the release throughout the entire song. It's really strong. My only drawback to this is sometimes the artists kind of stay upper level, but every once in a while you'll get a really good episode and they'll dive deep into what their influences are, and they'll pull out things like the iPhone recording of the first time they thought of the melody and the lyrics they had for that. It's interesting to see the growth of a song through the songwriter's eyes over time. So these are the 4 podcasts I recommend listening to if you're looking for growing as a songwriter, as a melody maker, as a lyricist, whatever you're going to be. If you're working in music, these are great places to start. And like I said, definitely listen to episodes of the people that you know and the music you're familiar with, but reach out and go outside your box, learn more about what you're not listening to and even what you don't like, because tracks that make it on the radio or tracks that become big hits, even if you don't like them, have elements that are very successful and can be reused in your own music. All right, have a great day.